This episode, we're talking sex, drugs, and voting local. If you're like most Americans, you're probably looking at Election Day like a colonoscopy, a painful experience vital to your future, and largely full of shit. But democracy has a ray of sunshine, local elections. And local politics are probably having a bigger impact on your daily life than decisions coming from the White House. Whether you'll be priced out of your apartment, can form a union with your coworkers, what your local library hours will be, whether libraries will even be. We also vote on people. Those up for re-election this November include school board members who take bribes, judges who have sex with their clerks in the chambers, and of course mayors, like Anthony Silva of Stockton, California, who's currently involved in a scandal where he allegedly gave alcohol to underage camp counselors and then played strip poker with them. In his defense, the mayor said,
"Everyone there was 18 years old. Number 2, I never, ever endangered a child. Ever. Number 3, I never provided alcohol to anyone. And I certainly did not secretly record anyone."
You know, it's never, ever good to have to deny 4 things at once. Number 1, I didn't sleep with your wife. Number 2, I was not in your king-size bed. Number 3, I am not a selfish lover. And number 4, I did not change into your fleece robe afterwards and watch Deal or No Deal. But here's the problem. Americans are about as good at voting locally as we are at avoiding trans fats. We set our intentions, but Applebee's has a quesadilla burger. Turnout in the 2014 midterm election was especially bad.
Just 36% of voters went to the polls, the lowest since 1942. Voters back then had a pretty good excuse. Many of them were fighting in a world war.
Whoa, we're fighting a war too, okay? With Netflix. And we're losing. And when it comes to voting locally, young people are even worse. Even though they make up a third of the voting population, less than 22% of millennials voted for their own mayor in 2014. Remember, 2014 was also the year Rick Scott, aka Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, was re-elected governor of Florida. The guy who signed 5 pro-gun bills in a single month and put some of the harshest restrictions on abortion rights. He's also a candidate whose supporters saw fit to run this re-election ad.
Budget is a big deal for me now that I just graduated from college. The Rick Scott is perfect.
Look, I know what you're gonna say, but if you think about it, Rick Scott is like a wedding dress, white and a symbol of female subjugation. And millennials tend to lean left when voting. 72% believe in raising the minimum wage, 57% believe in legalizing marijuana, and 68% believe emojis are as good as a phone call on your mother's birthday. She wants to hear your voice, you animal! Why don't we vote locally? Well, maybe that's because local decision-making can often look like this city council meeting in White Settlement, Texas.
The discussion is to discuss and consider relocation of the library facility cat.
Did he just say a library facility cat?
We have received complaints about the cat's removal, as well as received grateful comments about its removal.
I have a motion and a second to reinstate the cat. Please have a vote. Browser is reinstated to the library.
Oh, that's so cute, White Settlement. Next on the docket, fix your name. Now, many voters say they're not informed enough on the local issues, and local news coverage isn't really helping. Let's take a look at Denver, Colorado. A 2015 study of 9 local stations found that about a third of their content was about traffic, weather, and sports. And nearly half of all other stories, like politics and other government issues, were given just 30 seconds or less of airtime, which leaves us with coverage like this.
Which came first, the bench or the parking meter?
Journalism came first, you douche. And even though local media does such a bad job at covering local politics, they still seem to be surprised when no one shows up to vote, like this reporter in Andrews County, Texas.
Locals tell me they didn't come to the polls today simply because they didn't know about it.
It's an election today. Do you know anything about that today?
About what?
The election?
I don't.
Is this about Library Cat? Oh, no. The thing is, these same local stations have seen a huge increase in local political ad sales in recent years, thanks once again to the law that took the cap off corporate campaign spending, Citizens United, which at this point we should really call America's UTI. We just can't get rid of it. So given all of that, and how important it is to vote locally, let me present a small sampling of what else will be on the ballot this November that doesn't have the words Clinton or Trump. And even though the issues are important enough to stand on their own, I'm going to explain them using Snapchat, just so all of you can keep up. Here we go. 9 states are voting to make marijuana legal, either medically or recreationally. 4 states are voting to raise the minimum wage.
South Dakota, your measure would actually lower the minimum wage for workers under 18.
Maine, Washington, Nevada, and California, you're voting on stricter gun laws. Colorado, you're voting to remove slavery from your state constitution because it's still legal for inmates. What? California, you've got the mother load of ballot measures.
Prop 66 would abolish the death penalty.
And Prop 60, which would require porn actors to wear condoms. And if you're still not sold on voting locally, just remember, you might live on Snapchat, but you don't actually live on Snapchat. You live at your parents', and you're trying to change that. So go vote.
My mom always said if you like an online video, you should subscribe to their channel. Whatever.